Yes, I know what you're thinking. Zach, are you okay? Are you taken hostage? Are you safe? Are you going crazy? What's going on? The answer to those questions is I'm fine. No, I've not been kidnapped. Yes, I'm crazy. But needless to say, yes, I'm on vacation. But I still want to deliver you guys still a review, especially during Memorial Weekend, because why not? Movies are coming out. And with this one in particular, a lot of hype building around it. One that I have to get out there. And if you've seen my reviews, I have told you how much I enjoy this series. It is worth doing a video on vacation.
I need you to trust me. One last time.
Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning is directed once again by Christopher McQuarrie and written again by Christopher McQuarrie and Erik Jendresen. The film stars Tom Cruise, Hayley Atwell, Ving, Rhames, Simon Pegg, Harry, Czerny, and Angela Bassett. According to IMDb's plot synopsis, joined by new allies and armed with the means to shut the entity down for good, Hunt is in a race against time to prevent the world as we know it from changing forever. After almost 30 years, folks, we have made it to the finale, or not. I mean, when you're in a franchise, you're 8 films deep, and you still make a lot of money off of this said franchise. Is it really dead? Who knows? But maybe Tom Cruise's last movie? I would want to assume so. I hope. But especially since his ass just gets more chaotic and more crazy the more he does his own stunts. But hey, I mean, I respect the grind, man. This franchise has been upping the stakes and pushing the limits of the action genre as a whole. You know how much I fondly talk about this franchise and how much, yes, it keeps on upping the stakes with how much Tom Cruise, Christopher McQuarrie, and or other directors and the production team, they put a lot of hard work and a lot of effort into making sure that these are quality action blockbusters for people to go out and see on the big screen. If there is one thing I respect from Tom Cruise and company, is that he knows how to deliver the thrills and excitement that audiences and moviegoers need to see on a big movie screen. If there is one thing I respect about that guy, is he knows how to get your attention. And it seemed that this series could not screw up, minus Mission Impossible 2. Most of the movies, if you have been following my reviews, have showcased that and shown how much they have bounced back from that. As the first movie was a great one, second movie, not so good, but hey, third movie and moving forward, and they continue to keep on impressing and topping themselves and making this series stand out and continuing to thrive off of really giving us some amazing films in this series. It seemed that this series couldn't screw up at all. You're thinking to yourself, man, with how these movies are coming out, there's no way to now falter, especially now that we're on the last one. Finally saw the 8th installment, and to be honest, you guys, it was okay. I enjoyed some parts of this movie, but I gotta be honest with you, this let me down. It really did. And that's the really tough part to kind of swallow. Because if it had been good, I would have accepted it. But when you're at okay for your finale, that's when you start to kind of feel like, man, all this build up and it couldn't stuck the landing. For me, this one really just started to show the cracks in this entire series as a whole and started to showcase problems with regards to how this franchise has kept on building and building, and then having it now end with this, and now it just starts to show some of the faulty parts of what this series can kind of eventually find itself in. But before addressing my issues, here are the positives that I did find with the movie. The performances are intense. Once again, Tom Cruise continues to show the determination and caring side of Ethan Hunt. Along with the rest of the cast, they all brought their A game. Tom Cruise. Talk about a guy who throws himself into every movie, whatever it is. This man dedicates 110% of his time. He is not going to waste it because you know how much he really wants to deliver on something. He is not only amazing in the stunts, but I still think that he really does bring a sense of urgency, as well as, like I said, that determination factor that we have come to know with Ethan Hunt. And Cruise, it's like secondhand nature to him, how he plays his character. Now, I will say that there is a problem with the character, but that involves with the story. But overall, everyone is great in the movie, but really, Tom Cruise, man, I can't do no wrong with him with regards to really giving me a performance that at least echoes how he has for his entire run with this entire series. The direction is spectacular. Again, director Christopher McQuarrie knows how to deliver on the thrills and show-stopping nature of the series. McQuarrie is a perfect choice to end this story. And for a director who's been around since the fifth movie for now almost 10 years, that's how long ago he started this with Tom Cruise. I respect this man, showcases how much he has a knack eye for action. I think McQuarrie was a very good choice on really just solidifying what the Mission Impossible series is for him. Now, I'm not saying that there can't be other directors that can come in and do what they need to do. I do think that for McQuarrie to kind of end things on the way he wants it to be, I give him all the credit, and I really wish him the best now moving forward after Mission Impossible, that he can still continue to deliver on still amazing and really high quality action movies. The action is exciting. Every fight and set piece really brings the fun and intensity that's always brought. Though not as many as the previous installment, compared to the other films, this has the least amount of action in the franchise compared to other movies. It's always incredible. It's amazing to see the amount of choreography, but really just the amount of talent that comes together with making these action set pieces look as incredible as they are. But really, the action themselves do complement the movie because it's Mission Impossible. There's nothing about this series that screams that they can never deliver on the thrills and excitements. No matter what, the action itself continues to strive in really bold and unique ways on how sequences can be as thrilling, engaging, and as intense as it can be because of how much they want you to feel in the moment as it's happening. The music is atmospheric. Composers Max Arjo and Alfie Goffrey delivers on the haunting and eerie vibes that Lauren Balfe, who was the previous composer, had always brought, having a score that fits well for a finale. Because if you want a score that can at least end the franchise on a very level headed, or at the very least on a very emotional level, or hit the same way as the series is known for, these guys did very well. And if there was one thing that I wanted at least to always be consistent, it's the music. And thankfully, they had amazing composers to still deliver on that said score. Production is stunning. As always, all the stunt and fight choreography, sets, and crew work is again showing the power and importance of their efforts in making a film for the theaters. I have always given so much respect, credit for the crew workers who work on these said films. It's incredible. It's amazing to see how much of their time and their hard work was put into this movie, and their efforts are showcased all throughout. And it's all because of the fact that they managed to combine everything that made Mission Impossible what it is in production design, as well as those, like I said, fights and set pieces, and just really deliver on something that I think movie audiences still can't get enough of. The cinematography is gorgeous. Once again, cinematographer Fraser Tagger manages to show the action and sceneries on full display. Every shot and frame feels precise and planned out. I am happy to see that this movie still continues with how the film looks and still showcases the action on full effect. It looks amazing. It looks gorgeous. How the action is displayed is well handled and really intense. It all screams to me a cinematographer who really wants to be showcasing all of the non-stop bombastic action as it can, but also delivering on the location set pieces in a very beautiful and gorgeous way. Although it brings everything out, it unfortunately falls short on being the finale to Cruise's tenure, and that's the sad part for me. As much as I give this movie credit for what it brings, this film, however, just couldn't meet the expectations that it was setting, and unfortunately, it kind of suffers under the weight of the problems that I have. So here are now the negatives. The pacing runtime is padded out. Anytime there is conversations or slow down moments, the more this film gets drawn out. With a runtime of 2 hours and 50 minutes, it shouldn't have been near 3 hours. This is, I think, the problem with this film, in that because it's the finale and because they want to conclude everything and because they want to really make this build up each time. The more they do that, the more this film feels padded out, especially when this film has a lot of exposition stuff. And that I think is what hurts this film because it has to go through talking about the previous movies as well as having to fit in the action and the story that's in this film. And I just feel like it doesn't lend itself to that runtime at all. I don't understand why it is, and I didn't think this really needed to be 3 hours. I think that they could have cut scenes from it entirely and wouldn't have changed much. It just sucks because for as much as some of the movies got longer, I was fine with them. But here I'm starting to notice it, and it really does affect my viewing of this movie. The editing is messy, every cut and transition feels underwhelming and lackluster, making this frustrating all around. The editing throughout most of the Mission Impossible movies have been actually quite enjoyable and kind of fine, except for maybe three. But I found that the editing in this movie to be really sloppily done. It is poorly executed. It almost feels like they jump cut or they do transitions that I just don't think need to be there. And it just felt like a waste of time on how this was all stitched together. And it really shows that this was rushed in how they want to display the action. That's the sad part because the action is cool, but how it's all put together, it feels like it is just trying to mesh it all together and to just quickly get the scenes going. The problem with that you make the action sequences or even like moments in that are supposed to be serious feel like it's so jarring and so all over the place that it just doesn't feel concrete enough. The story feels hollow. Having Hunt and crew stop the entity felt bloated out and it didn't always felt solid. By the end, it all felt disappointing with not enough to tell. And that's the sad thing, because most of the Mission Impossible movies, as much as people can say that they're generic in terms of its story, you can at least remember scenes or segments in the film that you can say that was a standout good moment or a good way to build up tension. This movie, it's just very much conversational heavy and a lot of exposition. We want to talk about movies having exposition. This movie explains things so much and reuses flashbacks so many times. Like, I get it. This is a way of celebrating the franchise. I understand that this is labeled as the final film. At the same time, though, when you are relying so much on flashbacks and exposition more than you are actually progressing the plot in a way where it is more interesting or very captivating to watch, it feels kind of lackluster when you do it and kind of cheap when you just use scenes from previous movies be put into this movie to add or pad out story. And that's a telltale sign of you just didn't have much to work with and you just kind of threw in or look back at previous works and you just decided, all right, let's throw all that in here because what else we got? The villains are empty. Both the entity and Gabriel didn't leave a lasting impact, leading to an underdeveloped and opponents. I wanted to give Gabriel credit in Dead Reckoning because that was considered the first part, and that we didn't have the full context. We just knew that he was part of Ethan's past before he became part of the IMF. And I thought that as much as he was serviceable, he was fine in the film, and even though Isaiah Morales is still decent in the movie, at the same time, though, they don't really explore much of his character. They don't do much to explore the backstory that him and Ethan have. It just kind of feels like they just needed an antagonist, a human antagonist for Ethan to go up against. And Gabriel was just that one. You could have explored more or made the character interesting, memorable, and they didn't. And that's the disappointing part, and as well as the entity. I thought the entity would have more of a driving force or a reason to showcase why you should take this thing as a serious threat. But they just do a lot of telling. It's just the whole thing or problem that the previous movie had, which is they just are telling you how much this thing is dangerous or scary, but they don't really showcase that much of how much this digital AI component doesn't really pose that much of a serious threat if it's not showcasing what makes it scary. They tell you, but they don't really go further other than just all powerful. I was equally let down and enjoyed. For as much as Cruise, McQuarrie, and Co. put all their hard work, I mean, they put everything into this and this franchise alone. It ultimately couldn't be satisfying to end with Cruise's time. That's the sad part, is that I wanted Cruise to be given a great send off, or at least Ethan Hunt to be given great closure, or at least to close down the Mission Impossible series for the moment and just reevaluate things. But because he kind of ended on okay, no, it kind of makes you think like, well, where can this series go? And I don't know if it could survive because the cracks started to show a bit in this movie, and it was kind of a bummer that it kind of ended out like this. It may not be on the level of Mission Impossible 2. I still think that is my least favorite in the franchise, but it doesn't come close to the highs of the last or previous installments. That's what I think hurts. Because if this was just at least good, I would have accepted it and I would have said, this is a perfect ending. But because you landed in okay, that has me worried. There were times where this could have improved, could have been better, or at least could have been on par with the previous installments. And because this just landed as being okay, that's a troubling sign and a worry sign that they should have definitely worked on this a lot more than what was given. I'm gonna give Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning a 6 out of 10. It's okay. I didn't hate it. I overall enjoyed some of the technical achievements in the way in which they showcase the action and how much they still push the envelope for it. That being said, in terms of writing and how this was all put together, it was just messy and it was just sad to see how much that this franchise that was at high kind of be any okay level. I mean, that's just not a good sign, and that's just kind of showcasing how much that they were just kind of relying on the technical aspects. It's almost like technical aspects started to kind of almost a little bit take over the movie than the story. And like I said, I understand the story is not super original or really riveting stuff, but it's thrilling to watch for an action movie. At least for Mission Impossible, you would want that. And for this to not really give you that, or at least give you some resemblance of things that you will remember or take away from this movie, besides the set pieces, yeah, you're just kind of like, all right, well, might as well watch the previous ones. So I want to thank you guys all for enjoying this series. I had a lot of fun reviewing them. And for those who don't know, I did review all the Mission Impossible films, and I will leave a playlist link here. And hopefully you can enjoy those. So yes, look forward to other reviews coming soon.